Alliance Insight is in full swing out here, and we're taking a look at how these new cards are interacting. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more content. This is actually exciting because starting things off here, we have the unbridled power of Blue Eyes White Dragon out here. And I know a lot of people are looking at this standard stuff. You're like, oh boy, this is just the Primite shenanigans. Yes, it is actually. With the new format rolling around out here with Alliance Insight, good old reliable Blue Eyes out here is shaping up to be one of the big contenders out here. And this is pretty much exactly what I've been kind of messing around with. Going with the 41 out here doing the thing. Interestingly enough, this build is back on the Stardust Cypher, which is really good. Also, no SP Little Knight in this. They're going with the second Spheres, which I actually kind of like that. And you also do see the second Blue Eyes fusion down here just on the opportunity of, you need to make one with the actual manual equip. And then in case you need to make one with the fusion. It's actually very interesting that does come up as a major thing. And of course, we have the purges pushed down to the side, which is actually kind of a big change kind of going forward here. Okay, next up is some Mermail action. Mermail itself did not receive any cool new power-ups, but what Mermail does still have going for it is the fact that this deck is still able to look at the opponent's hand, seal away those stupid little interactions that you might be finding in there, and you are also going to find a nice little water barrier statue creeping around out here on your opponent, which is absolutely hilarious to be seeing. Also, this deck, very much a very dice roll oriented strategy in the current era out here. But if you are able to go through everything in this meta and you are able to set up, this deck was still able to make second place out of its event, which is freaking fantastic. And it's a good showcase of how a deck like this aims to kind of set up and establish itself in the current stages of the meta. So, good stuff. I'm not surprised to say the least. Next up here, we have Ryzeal. Now, Ryzeal in Japan, you got to remember, they only have one EX, which is not super good. While Ryzeal is very much, looking like it wants to try to challenge the meta, you are going to notice that with the new support out here that we got a new little card. Star Ryzeal, being that on special summon, gets you into the cross, so you can actually set up much quicker able to do those things. And I also do see that this list was actually playing the whole in the deck for the Ryzeal stuff, which is actually very, very interesting. And of course, this build was also main decking a singular Lancia in here. Definitely expecting Maliss to be a little bit more of a troublesome deck than it actually was. But this is actually a really good setup out here and a pretty good indicator to kind of showcase out here what is actually setting up and happening. All right, next up out here, we have, look, it's the branded experience, as we're going to call it. And this shouldn't be too shocking to you out here, considering the fact that, you just wrap up your 60-card deck out here and call it a, the OCG has multiple grasses, which, sure, man, if you're able to get those off, good job. You are a better duelist than most people, and you have earned your spot out here in the meta. In terms of what you've got going in here, what you got... What? Why is there a singular evenly in here? That's okay, sure. 60 cards, my strategy today. I will now pull the one of evenly matched out of my hat and confuse everybody as I am just now better than my opponent. That's actually kind of crazy. You also do see the Nadir Servants down here actually doing a lot of major play for this deck. Nadir Servant actually kind of turning into one of those better cards right now, which is very, very nice. So that is our first tournament breakdown for you here. Now, we shift on into some more Blue Eyes action out here. And of course, this is going to look very familiar for most of you. We have the Ultimate Fusion in here. Skill Drain kind of slotting itself in here is a nice little tech choice. But this build is also side decking the additional Drill Beam. I guess being able to have the Drill Beam as an option to kind of tear through your opponent if you, kind of see it is good. And you also do see down here that we have the Senshin in the side deck, which is really good. Now, moving on along this tournament, we do see some Buster Blade or Blue Eyes action for you. Yeah, I bet you didn't think that you would see some Destruction Sword action in here of all things, but that's actually really, really funny to see that, Destruction Sword madness actually is coming up. Like, hey, anytime we can see the funny haha Blue Eyes interactions with Buster Blader, I'm gonna love this. And I hope that somebody in the TCG actually comes up with a cool innovation idea with this. Next up, we have some Gem Knights. Hey, Gem Knights are far from dead out here, everybody. I think that this is one of the cool little things out here that we've got shaping up in this meta. You know, we no longer, who needs Block Dragon? I mean, you see Fiendsmith cards in here. I mean, I can't totally patch over that entire thing, but the fact that you still have all of these good little cards fluctuating together across your engine, it just proves that this deck still is going to be reliable. And then, of course, we have, this is going to be our first Maliss list we're going to see in here. This list actually playing triple of the backup Ad Ignister in here. Actually, you're going to see a lot of the power that the backup Ad Ignister gives to this deck in the future. I didn't realize how stupid Maliss would be for what this deck is able to tear through on its end boards, but I most undoubtedly assure you that this deck has some of the craziest field breakups. Next up here is our next event, and of course, this is a Tenpai list. Yes, that's right. Tenpai is still creeping on around out here. You know, this is what happens when you leave Sengen summoning at its massive numbers. You know, this deck's going to kind of come through. It's going to OTK its opponents, and that is what you were pretty much expecting out here. I can't really think of anybody that wasn't too much expecting this deck to be the headline monster that it was going to be. Hey, Tenpai, how are you? But don't worry, there's more Tenpai here. Your second place out of this event was going to also be a Tenpai monster. Gordian Schneider in here, too. You know, I didn't initially see anybody playing Gordian Schneider, but you know, this deck only needs, very few extra deck cards, and it's just going to go ahead and ram on through the opponent out here and OTK. Like, we've actually found a new board breaker to actually do something, so that's actually kind of impressive. Now, I move on out here into third place, and yes, we do have some Maliss options for you. I do see that we are main decking the Shifters in this variant, which is kind of fine. I mean, Shifter is still semi-limited in the OCG. This card in the TCG is very much a very, very annoying problem out here. And I'm not looking forward to dealing with this. Backup Extenders, the Wizard, as well. They're only playing 1 March, which I do not agree with. That card is amazing at 2. And our next list out here is some Ryzeal interactions. This list actually going as far as to main decking the 2 copies of Meows, which, okay, I also see down here that you have some Regenesis cards down here in the side deck. I've actually been seeing a lot of talk about Regenesis stuff out here. I didn't exactly expect Regenesis cards to be smashing around as much as I've been seeing in some of these lower lists, but that's very real. All right, now our top 8 out here. Holy crap, is that Yubel? Oh my gosh, it's Yubel playing a Deception package, actually. So, you know, you do see some of the Fiendsmith stuff in here, you know, who's aiming to ice it up. You also do get a chance to see the Summon Sorceress, which, for some reason, the TCG still does not have Summon Sorceress. I cannot, for the life of me, tell you why we do not have this card, but Konami, I guess, was so scared, but... Alright, next up is some more Blue Eyes interactions for you. 2 Blue Eyes in the main deck. Main decking the Skill Drain is fine. You know, you're running this out of 41 cards. Must be also nice to play the Baron to floor. You also do see that we are playing the Senshin down here, so you can make the big Floodgate monster. So, you know, you can get the deck rolling. That's what you want to see. That's why you saw in the earlier build that the Senshin was pushed into the side deck. Might not be the biggest option available to you, but it definitely is going to be one to consider. And then we have some more Ryzeal. Okay. This build actually playing Aratama and Sakitama out here, you know. With EX Limited, this deck is still able to take off and is still able to combo, but you are going to very much notice that, you know, it feels a little bit more limited. This list also going to main decking Lancias. Also, interestingly enough, only 2 Fuas in the main deck. I don't necessarily like that all that much. I feel like it's one of those situations that you want to have those a little bit more set up. Okay. And then, of course, our last list here is some Memento action out here. You know, I am not surprised to see Memento coming into the spotlight out here, but, you know, hey, this is fine. It's still a very strong deck. I don't think a lot of people are really too ready to see Memento doing the same, but those shifters are running around. So I think shifters' existence is going to keep this check. But what do you guys think about all these cool lists? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here in day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.